everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Unpack That Bag, where I help you to carry what matters most. It's your host, Maya Danielle. And as always, I am so excited to be here today. I'm excited to be back. It's been like a little minute. It's definitely been a couple weeks since I've recorded an episode. And I want to say I mentioned why in my last episode, but I had to take some time to do some studying, do some preparation. I took my national counselor's exam, and so I was trying to get prepared for that, but I would like to report that I did pass my exam. So I have taken the final step in becoming a licensed clinical mental health counselor. So excited. Like I said, it's just so surreal. Obviously, I still have to finish classes. I have two more classes for my marriage and family therapy certificate. And then I also have to finish internship, but that's like nothing compared to the way I was preparing for this test. So I am just, again, super excited to be done with that because, listen, yeah, graduation is May 9th. I'm just like, I'm sure you can see it all over my face. I'm so excited to be almost done. Whew, school has been a lot. Like, it's been a lot. But again, just really grateful to be at the end. Super blessed for all the support and just God keeping me through everything. So yeah, don't want to miss an opportunity to just be grateful for where I'm at. And so yeah, I think that it's so funny because not even an hour after taking my exam, I think so many questions, so many like, oh my gosh, what's next? Kind of just flooded my brain. Like, okay, I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure that out. I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure that out. Um, and so also like I just did a lot of reflecting as well, of, like my journey through this program, my journey through grad school, and everything that I've learned, everything that I've been through, the relationships that I've been in, and um, just all the lessons learned. And you know, I think I started my reflection really, I didn't have to go too far because listen, last year tore me up. Like last year did your girl so dirty. And when I say last year, I'm referring to like the first 4 months of the year. Honestly, maybe even the first half of the year. I was just going through it. Like I had to unexpectedly quit my job, which I knew I was going to have to quit my job because of internship, but I did think I had a little bit more time than I did. So I had to quit my job a little bit earlier than expected. Devastated, right? Not devastated, but like, okay, yeah. But then I also had to move back home because I quit my job and I don't have no money, I'm broke, can't find another job. Like I'm applying to jobs and I'm just not getting anything. Um, and so I was like, this is what is happening. Like I'm dealing with so much. I mean, within like maybe the first 2 weeks of the year, I was like just kind of hit by these kind of felt what felt like to me was just devastation, right? Um, and then March came, and in March, I was supposed to move out. And the day that I was moving out of my apartment, I got a call that my nana passed. And, I was just like, God, please, what is happening? Like, I can't take this. And so, yeah, it was so much, it was so hard. And I think, moving home for me, that was something I never wanted to have to do. Like, I am, I love my independence. I love being on my own. I love just having my own space. And I had gotten a touch of that. Like I felt just so in my zone, so focused, so just like where I needed to be. And for me, it felt like, oh my gosh, it just got snatched, right? Yeah. So that was hard. And it was hard dealing with that and having to grieve. And even with her death, like having to grieve so many things. Her death was hard on its own because like that's my nana, she was my best friend. But also so many things surrounding that. And yeah, I'll leave it there. But again, I say all that to say like I was just so challenged last year. Like I was constantly being put in a position to be uncomfortable, right? Be in a just a space of like, I don't know what's next. I don't know how things are gonna play out. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the year. I just don't know. And so I was really placed in a space of having to surrender to just being present, just being where I was in the moment, not really having any expectations for what the future was going to look like because I just didn't know. And the expectations that I did have, they were like they all came tumbling down. So it's like I didn't have any choice but to just sit in that uncomfortability, sit in the fact that I don't have a job, sit in the fact that I'm having to move back home, sit in the fact that like I just, there was just so much uncertainty. And praise be to God that the second half of my year it turned around, like it all turned around. And so super grateful for that. But again, like I said, as I am moving through this current season of my life and reflecting on that period of like being so challenged and so uncomfortable, um, and as I look forward, I realize that like uncomfortability, as painful as it is, right, as unnerving and unknowing as it is so necessary. It's so necessary to growth. It's so necessary to becoming a better person. And as I think about the current things in my life that bring me some uncomfortability or challenge me a little bit, I'm like, okay, Maya, what is it, right? What are you struggling with? And one of my biggest things has been vulnerability. Like I've always struggled with being vulnerable. Um, and not even in like not even in very severe ways because I do open up to people and I'm okay with expressing my emotions for the most part. But there is a bit of a tug of war. Like so I do find myself in positions of where like maybe I don't give as much just because I don't know what I'm going to get from that. And I think a lot of the reasons why I do that is because one thing that I has been revealed to me, I think even over just the past year, is that I'm a challenge, right? I'm a challenging person. I am somebody who's going to challenge those around me. I am going to make you do a little bit of thinking. I'm going to make you maybe reassess what you have been doing and what you could be doing. And the reason that I'm a challenger is because I genuinely want people to grow. I genuinely want people to do some introspection and look within themselves to see how they can change or adapt to be a better person. And I think to reading All About Love by Bell Hooks and her touching on the topic of love, but then also she pulls from M. Scott Peck, The Road Less Traveled, which is a great book. And he says, his definition of love is the will to extend yourself for the purpose of your own and another person's spiritual growth. And like that definition of love changed my mind because it really shifted the way that I think that I want to interact with people. I want to be in relation with people out in the world. I want to make sure that whatever I am putting out is not only, aiding myself, right? Because that's a part of kind of what, as humans, we don't really do much that don't bring benefit for ourselves, right? But then also I want to make sure that whatever I am putting out, which I would hope to be love, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give love, even to our enemies. But I would hope that whatever I am doing and whatever I am putting out is helping in the growth of another, whether it be spiritual, whether it be physical, whether it be mental. Like that's my role in life. That's what I prayed so long for God to tell me and to show me, and He did. And it's not fair for me to deny other people of their growth. And so again, I go back to saying like I am a challenger of people. I do challenge people because I want them to be in a position of growth. And I again struggle with that because growth is uncomfortable. Being challenged is uncomfortable. And so I was like hesitant to make people uncomfortable. I was hesitant to put people in a position where they felt challenged by me because I didn't want to hurt their relationships, or hurt the relationship that I had with them, right? And so I was uncomfortable. I was comfortable taking on their uncomfortability for the sake of like, I don't know. I don't know why I was doing it, but I was doing it. And I still do it. Um, but anyway, I say all that to say, like, I'm finding now that it's not beneficial for me. It's not beneficial for anybody for me to hinder somebody else's growth for the purpose of them not being comfortable. Um, and so yeah, I think that a part of what uncomfortability even is, right? What a part of just being challenged is to say like there's something that's happening that I'm not used to, it's not familiar, and something probably needs to change, right? That's really what uncomfortability tells us is that something needs to change. And so also reading the book The Power of Now, um, he's talking about, and it's by Eckhart Tolle, but he says the mind, conditioned as it is by the past, always seeks to recreate what is known, and what it's familiar with, right? And so again, we tend to put ourselves in positions where we're comfortable. We tend to stay where we've been. We tend to do things the way we've always done them. We tend to use familiarity as a place of comfort. We go to the same places, we eat at the same restaurants, we talk to the same people. We don't really try much that's new because it's going to push us out of a place of comfortability. We always go back to the things from the past to find what is comfortable. And then he says, even if it is painful, at least it's familiar. So even if that old relationship that you were in is painful, at least it's familiar, right? You know, even if the way that you do things in the past where um maybe you had some bad habits, maybe you um found yourself in places that weren't beneficial to your growth. Even if those places and those people were painful, it's still familiar, right? So we tend to go back to what's familiar, whether it was painful, whether it was helpful, whether it was good, bad. It doesn't matter what it was, as long as it's familiar, we tend to go there. And so the mind always adheres to the known. It always is going to go to what we know. And so the reason for that, and he says, the unknown is dangerous because it has no control over it, right? The future, the reason why a lot of people have anxiety, a lot of reasons why people stress and worry about things is because we tend to worry about what's happening in the future, what's going to happen, what are the outcomes going to be of the things that we do, what's going to happen tomorrow, are my bills going to get paid? If they don't get paid, what's going to happen? And then you go down this cycle of like, what if, because you don't know. And so that is dangerous and you don't have any control over much of that, right? And so that's, again, he says, that's why the mind dislikes and ignores the present moment. Because the only thing that is for sure is what's right now. The only thing that you have control over is what's right now. You can't control what's going to happen in 2 weeks. You can't control what's going to happen in 3 years. Like you can't control any of that. But what you can control is where you are right now, what you are experiencing right now. And if what you are experiencing right now is uncomfortability, what is it trying to tell you? Like, what is the uncomfortability that you're experiencing right now in this moment trying to tell you? Because it's trying to tell you something, right? People challenge you and tell you things or push you out of your comfort zone because it's just trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you like in this moment, not what you was doing 10 years ago, not, the behaviors of your past. What in this moment can you be doing differently to get you to the place that you want to be, right? So many people are waiting on the perfect moment to change. So many are thinking, well, I ain't got the education that Bob or Sally has, so I can't do this, right? My parents weren't there for me. My parents didn't love me. My parents didn't teach me how to do X, Y, and Z, so therefore I can't do it, right? And that's outsourcing your growth. You can't depend on nobody else to help you to grow. You can't depend on the past to give you something that you're not even willing to work for in this current moment to give yourself. And so a part of this mindset that I would hope, that we would all want to have is that in order for me to grow, in order for me to develop and to want to be a better person for myself and for my relationship with others and for the future that we stress so much over, is for me to be here in the present moment right now and okay with being a little uncomfortable, okay with being challenged. And even if it's being challenged by somebody that you wouldn't deem to be um wise, right? I think that so there's a podcast here on YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, called B and Mac Talks, and they do a word of the week every week. Whew, excuse me. Had a little sneeze there. Um, and the word for the week last week was wisdom. And they talk about what it means to be wise and what their definitions of wisdom are. But I think one of the biggest things that I took away from that, and I hope that everybody can take away, is that wisdom is not reserved for the elderly. It ain't reserved for your grandma. It ain't reserved for your pastor. It ain't reserved for the president. It ain't reserved for nobody for any reason, right? Quality of your experiences as a 16-year-old is still as valuable as the quality of your experiences as a 90-year-old, right? And so just because you've had more, just because you have a higher quantity of experiences, does not make you any more wise than somebody who is 16 and maybe hasn't lived that long and hasn't been through that many things, right? Because the quality of your experiences can be so valuable that you are able to teach somebody something else. Children have so much to teach. You can learn something. I think it's a beautiful thing, really. And most people don't think of it this way. But you can learn something from an infant. You can learn something from a newborn. Think of a parent who has never had a child before, and even if they've had a child before, I think the same thing still applies. But think of a parent who has never had children before, and they have a baby. They don't know how to be a parent, right? They don't know what to do. Baby, you go give birth at that hospital, they gonna give you some Pampers and a swaddle and send your tail home within 24 hours. Like they don't tell you how to be a parent. Nobody can teach you how to be a parent. But you know who can teach you how to be a parent? Your child can. Believe it or not, I know your newborn taught you something. Forgive me. A newborn child can tell you exactly what it needs from you. It can tell you when it's hungry. It can tell you when it needs to be changed. It can tell you when it's cold. It can tell you when it needs to be swaddled. And every child is different. So just because your sister who had a baby told you like, oh yeah, you need to do this and this, your child might require some different things. Your child might teach you that actually, no, I don't like being hot. You got me wrapped up in the swaddle because auntie told you to. I don't like that. And they will let you know. And so, when your children are that young, you're kind of receptive to the lessons that they're teaching you, right? You're receptive. You reach out and you say, "Oh, my child's crying. I need to do this, and this to make sure that they're okay." And so I think it's funny, as those children get older, and I joke with my friends, like, people want babies, people want children all the time, but nobody ever wants a toddler, or nobody ever wants a teenager, right? Because when that teenager gets older and that teenager is crying, or that teenager is telling you that something they did hurt their feelings, or made them feel bad, or made them uncomfortable, then people got problems. Now that child being disrespectful. Now that child talking back because they asked you why we did something a certain way. And then it's because I said so, right? You don't tell the infant that when they're crying and they're needing something from you that it's because I said so. But because that teenager challenged you, right? Because they maybe questioned your authority over them. Now things are a little bit uncomfortable. They put you in the space of like, hold on. And so if you're somebody who is not comfortable with being uncomfortable, you're not comfortable with being challenged, especially as a parent, when that challenge is your authority, when that challenge is that power dynamic of I'm a parent, you're a child, stay in your place, then that's what happens, right? That's the message that you give to your child, your teenager, is that wait a minute, I'm the parent, you're the child, stay in your place. It's the message of because I said so. It's the message of you're being disrespectful. Don't question the way that I do things, right? Because that's easy, right? That's familiar. That's what your mama did, and that's what her mama did, and that's what your daddy did. That's what his daddy did, right? That's what's familiar. So we're gonna stay in that instead of and you've missed the opportunity to grow. You've missed the opportunity to challenge yourself in a way that you can do things a little bit differently, right? Maybe I can sit down and have a conversation with my teenager and say, well, not because I said so, but because I want you to be safe. I want you to, you can't stay out past your curfew because I want to make sure that you're home at a decent time where I can be up to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure that XYZ, right? And so when you take the time to have those conversations, as uncomfortable as they may be, or you take the time to sit in that challenge and say, well, wait a minute, why am I feeling bad? Why am I feeling challenged? Why am I uncomfortable because my teenager maybe asked me to do something different, right? So again, I say all that to say I'm really passionate about this specific topic, just because I think again we missed the opportunity for growth, and we missed this opportunity to break those generational curses that we all say we want to do. I mean, every generation is like, I want to break generational curses. I want to be better than my parents. I want to be better than my grandparents. But then when it comes down to those things like that power dynamic of being a parent and a child, or that, respect your elders thing. Like when you rely on, you lean back on those familiar phrases or those familiar things that you've always done, your parents have always done, you're falling into those same patterns and you're not being challenged. You're not pushing yourself to be a better person. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be open and receptive to challenge and to uncomfortability, no matter who the person is coming from, right? Your enemy can challenge you, okay? Your enemy can push you to a place of growth because that uncomfortability you may feel in the presence of them, in the presence of your enemy, it could be saying that maybe I need to make some changes in my life to go out and remove myself from this space, even though removing myself from this space is going to be uncomfortable, even though removing myself from this space is going to be unfamiliar and unknown, maybe I do need to remove myself from this space so that I can grow, right? Same thing with being at a job. Like you've been at that job for 30 years. Like, do you know how many people, I mean, even when I was working within the insurance field, and I get, the economy. My generation is a little bit different. We'll leave a job, right? But it was always so interesting to me that people would be in these jobs and be in like they've been there for years. They're not happy. They're so freaking bitter. It makes no sense. Like you say good morning to them. It's like you can tell it's on their soul. They're not happy. But because it's familiar, right? I mean, that's what Eckhart says in The Power of Now. Because it's familiar, Though it's painful, I'm going to stay here because I'm comfortable here, right? I've been here. I know I know what this is gonna give me. I know that week in and week out, this gonna bring me a little stress. I'm gonna get that call, and every time the team's notification pop up, my body goes into shock, right? But at the end of the day, I know this. I've been here. I don't know what's gonna happen if I leave the job and try to re-enter the work field, or I don't know what's gonna happen if I go speak to my boss and say, I ain't really all that happy. Like, is there some way for me to move? Like, can I move up? Can I get a promotion? Like, I've been here for a minute. Can I get some more money? But because we don't know what the next phase of that is going to be, we don't know what the outcome of placing ourselves out of this comfortable space is going to give us. We don't ask, we don't make those changes, right? And so I think that again, it's important for you to be open to change. You need to be open to putting yourself in a position of uncomfortability so that you can grow. Like, I can only imagine if last year I did not put myself into some spaces of being uncomfortable, if I tried to thug it out on my own and not move home. Um, though me moving home was the most uncomfortable thing I think I've had to do in a while. If I didn't do that, where would I be, right? What lessons would I have learned to better myself so that, I can continue on with school without losing my mind, right? I can continue on with school and use my experiences for my personal growth, but also the growth of others, right? And I think you stunt again, and it goes back to what I said about that definition of the will to extend yourself for your growth and others, is you stunt the growth of others. You stunt the growth of the people that you love when you don't challenge yourself and you don't challenge them, right? Because you don't challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You ain't learned not one lesson. You ain't been in one hardship or trial because you've always stayed in that same thing and whatever. Like, no matter what that same thing brought you, you stayed there. And so how do you challenge people around you, right? How do you encourage the people around you if you yourself are not putting yourself in positions of challenge and of growth? I think that it does a disservice to yourself. It does a disservice to others. If you're not willing, right? The will, you gotta have a will. If you're not willing, not to say, everybody is in a space to make those steps of change, right? Everybody is not. It honestly, a lot of people are comfortable with being comfortable. They may have done the introspection to say, I could be doing some things differently. They may have already done that, but some people are not willing to take the next step of change. But I think it's important that if you are not willing, that you at least think about it. Right. Think about what the benefits could be. Think about how much better your life could be. Think about how much better the lives of the people that you love could be if you took those steps to do better. If you stopped using those same excuses of this is the way it's always been, this is who I am. I didn't have nobody to teach me. I didn't learn. I didn't have the education. I didn't go and do this and this, so therefore I can't excel. Right? You've challenged me on something that I've always been doing. Why would I shift? So again, I think I want to encourage everybody. You can be anything that you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do. If nobody has ever told you that, because some people who didn't have parents or people in their lives to tell them you can be anything that you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do. But if you had not, I am here today. My Danielle is here today to tell you that you can be anything that you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do. But you cannot be anything that you want to be, and you cannot do anything that you want to do if you do not put in the work to do so. And you cannot, especially do any of those things if you're not okay with being uncomfortable. You got to get yourself comfortable with being uncomfortable so that you can excel yourself into those places of growth. And I hope that, you know, obviously I stated it before, but the purpose of this podcast, Unpack That Bag, is for us to start doing some introspection, like, right? That's literally what that means. Do some introspection. Look within yourself. Look at your experiences. Look at your behaviors in the past and say, what have I done that may not have been beneficial to my growth? What is holding me down? Like, what am I carrying right now in this moment that is holding me back from my growth, right? What are some things that I'm willing to let go of? Whether it makes me uncomfortable, whether it challenges me, whether it puts me in a place of familiarity, what am I willing to let go of this? I'm holding on to? Like, this bag is heavy. I'm holding on to some things that I don't need to hold on to. What am I willing to let go of so that I can be a better person, so that I can grow and share with others, right? My wisdom and my knowledge and my experiences so that they can grow as well. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable, right? You carrying around, some people are carrying around bitterness. They're so bitter. They're so resentful. Their mama hurt them, their daddy hurt them, everybody in their mama hurt them. And they're hurting other people, right? It's so easy to hold on to resentment. It's so easy to hold on to feelings of inferiority. It's so that's easy. Like, what? Yeah, it don't feel good. You know they don't feel good. You know it's heavy to be holding on to that, but it's easy. It's familiar. Like, why would I forgive you? Why would I release this control that you have over me? This is comfortable. I'm right here, right? And so a lot of people are holding on to that stuff because it's easy, it's familiar, but it's hurting them. You ain't getting nowhere with that. That bag is heavy. You think you about to run as fast as me and you carrying that big old bag? No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Your enemy, your op, then let go of that 3 years ago. They going about their life, right? They excelling. Their bag ain't that heavy because they ain't holding on to what you got. But you still holding on to that same stuff. You're still holding on to those same bad habits. You're still holding on to that alcohol, or you still holding on to that toxic ex. You still holding on to that job that ain't got you nowhere in 20 years. You still holding on to all of these things, these mindsets and these beliefs just because it's what's familiar, just because it's what you've always done. And it's holding you down. It's keeping you from growing. It's keeping you from becoming the person that you say that you want to be. You got goals. You want to break the generational trauma. You want to learn more. You want to grow more. You want to be a better person. You want to be a better Christian. You want to be a better Muslim. You want to be a better XYZ. And you have not even put yourself in a position to accept challenges. You want to be a better parent than your parents were, but you're not putting yourself in a position to be challenged by your children and not say that they're disrespectful for challenging you. You're not, like this is what it is. This is where it starts. It starts in those spaces of uncomfortability. It starts in those spaces of challenge, and it starts looking with inside yourself, looking and saying, what is making me uncomfortable and what is it trying to tell me? It's trying to tell me something. What is it trying to tell me? And saying, I'm not going to wait for the perfect conditions to do something about it. I'm not going to wait for the perfect conditions to get up and go to the gym. I'm not going to wait for the perfect conditions to go and start my diet. I'm not going to wait for the perfect conditions to begin dating again after I've been hurt, right? That's the whole thing. But like, you continue to wait for these perfect conditions. You continue to wait for the perfect time to celebrate yourself or to rest, right? You continue waiting for these perfect conditions. Well, I'm gonna wait till New Year's to start this journey. Then I'm going on because whatever. Like, I'm gonna wait till Sunday to do X, Y. Like, you keep waiting on this perfect moment, and I promise you, the perfect moment will never come. It won't. And even though you thought it came, because you waited on that perfect moment, your mind not even right, right? You're not even real serious about it. Stop waiting. Stop sitting in your comfortability. Stop being complacent in what's familiar and be willing to do something to change. Be willing to challenge yourself. Be willing to challenge others. That's a message for me. Be willing to challenge others. Don't hold yourself back in a way that you don't exist fully so that other people won't be challenged. You know, challenge yourself to challenge others. Challenge yourself to um promote the growth of somebody else. And so, I say all that to say, I'm really passionate about this actually, if you couldn't tell. But I do say all that to say, like, just think about what it would look like for you if you were just comfortable. Just like not even comfortable, because we won't even use that. Just think about it would look like for yourself if you were willing to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Think about where you could be today if you may have stepped out of your comfort zone in the past, right? Think about it. Think about something that may have happened in the past. Maybe if I was just willing to sit in that uncomfortability a little bit, where it would have gotten me. If I would have made that decision that would have been uncomfortable, it wouldn't have felt too good. But where would it have gotten me? And then I also want you to think, as we end the episode this week and as you go about your week and push through, I want you to reflect on what is it in my life what areas of my life am I uncomfortable in? And what is it trying to teach me? What areas of my life am I being challenged in? What areas of my life am I uncomfortable in? And what is that uncomfortability? What is that challenge trying to teach me? And so I'm going to be reflecting on that this week. I'm going to be doing some introspection of that this week. Like I said, I've already been doing a little bit of it, but I do encourage you as well to think on that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the episode. If you're watching here on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, Apple, whatever the platform that you are on, thank you so much for listening in. I appreciate you all for being on this journey with me. Listen, I'm going to force you to be a little bit uncomfortable. Like I'm going to have some uncomfortable conversations. I'm going to have some um just kind of thought-provoking conversations, some things that are going to make you look inside your bag and say, what am I holding on to, right? And what can I maybe let go of, right? What can I carry that is going to matter? And so again, I want you to go about your week and have a great week. I hope everybody has a blessed week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you have not already subscribed, subscribe, y'all. Subscribe, follow, whatever. And also turn your notifications on so you can see when I get when the videos are posted or the sounds are posted. And also, like, listen, I'm going places, baby. I'm growing, okay? I'm extending to new heights. Always will be. And so I would love if you would join this journey with me. And so we can grow together and we can heal together and we can become better people together. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, join this journey, engage, comment, build community around this. So share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your coworkers, share it with anybody who will listen. But again, I appreciate all the love and the appreciation. And I hope that again you all have a great week. Cannot wait to see you next week. Thank you so much for watching and listening. See you then. Bye-bye.